Set the stage up for the next segment. Let me share with all of you that in the next few minutes, I will be announcing who my winner for social media handles are. For that, let me encourage all of you. You know, it's all about consistency. I would love for you to share some posts, whether it is pictures, videos, or any of it on Twitter, now X. All you have to do is create some content, post it on X, and please do remember to follow Mapic India and do tag us at Mapic India. That's the only way my team will get to know that it's happening. So may I encourage all of you to please pick up your smartphones and share content right now, right away. Do remember to tag us. Please do need that these entries need to have a little bit of engagement for you to be winning a prize. So please let me encourage you to post as much as you can, because our backend team is out there taking a call as to whose posts are engaging. So don't think whether you'll get the likes or not, just post. And for now, we are ready to talk about how today designers shaping India's retail future. I'm sure all of us today agree that as India's fashion landscape is accelerating, designers are playing a central role in transforming both the creative expression and also the commercial retail dynamics. That's what our next set of speakers are going to focus on. To moderate this segment, I'm pleased to have amongst us Ms. Sakshi Goel, Associate Executive Director, CBRE. May I request all of you to please put your hands together as she joins us on stage with that perfect elegance. Let me present to you our Power Pack panelists. We have joining in Mr. Sanjeev Mehra, CEO and ED Quest Properties. Let's hear a round of applause as I welcome Mr. Rishi Sakhuja, founder, Vasa Indica. May I present to you Ms. Jahnavi Batra, Chief Marketing Officer, Sheetal Batra. May I also request you to please welcome Supria Radaraman, co-founder and Group COO, the House of Angadi. I'd like to request all of you to please welcome Mr. Jaideep Singh, COO and Brand Head, AMPM. May I present to you Ms. Aparna Sood, Head, Leasing, Luxury Malls at DLF Limited. A warm welcome to each of our speakers. Audience members, I would love for you to ask questions, make these sessions interactive. And for those of you in our pre-function area, you don't want to be missing out on the sessions right here. So please be a part as our thought leaders take us into a conversation mode. May I now hand over to Ms. Sakshi Goel, our moderator.
Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to our panelists. A lot of them extremely dear friends, and we've kind of put together this panel, I think, for MAPIC for the first time. I think a very, very ignored category from a perspective of more discussion, but I think extremely relevant from the space it's taking up in Indian retail. I think the Indian consumer is evolving, it's more globally aware, it's aspiring for more. A lot of brands or Indian designers are actually becoming replacements for a lot of international brands. So I think we'll talk about that and a lot more today. We want to talk about scalability, we want to talk about evolution, we want to talk about commercial viability as we scale. So I think a lot of them are extremely relevant. I'd like to start with Sanjeev. Sanjeev, your thoughts of, you've obviously been in this business for extremely long. You've seen how these brands have evolved over the last few years. Indian designers in specific, they may be Pret or Couture. How do you see their journey? And how do you see them today vis-a-vis how you saw them, say, 10 to 15 years back?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things we got to take into perspective going back.
Sure.
You have all these young kids who've gone out, become chefs. They come back. Sure. They're going to open their own restaurants. Designers, and per se everybody else. So these skill sets now are being harnessed. We are going out, we are learning couture, we are learning how bags are made or how clothes are made. So they are eventually going to come back and, they're going to open their own stores. So that is the advent of how Indian designers are. If you look at it, you have Tarun and all who are the stalwarts, but look at the second rung, third rung, fourth rung, all these young kids who are doing amazing work. The problem is that they get happy too easy. So when you start, it's a very long journey. Look at how it's taken Tarun to get to, I keep Tarun because he's actually a person you have to measure up to, or Sabyasachi now. Sabyasachi has been faster, but nobody else on a global platform is available. No one on a global platform. So we have to do it. Of course, the Indian dress sense, etc., also has to be acceptable. So in the malls, how do we create the spaces? So first of all, now, let's say at Quest, we are revamping whole of Quest. It's going through a huge makeover. So the third floor now is being created and curated for designers. Couture does not work in malls because, you know, you have something called the visual merchandising cannot change. So you have fatigue. You have people see the same thing and then they don't buy. So we've been through that. But now what is happening is that you have the whole Indo-Western, you have Pret. So they have created lines. I think AM/PM is a one rung below for the Pret side. So they are creating all these genres also. They're working very hard. You know, it's a try, it's a miss. So when you do that, then it gives you the confidence. Also the ASPs. If you see the average selling price, which used to be between, you know, Indian clothes, 2.5 to 10,000. Now for us, we are very clear that the ASP has to be between 10,000 to 1,25,000. We are not going to go couture. So these are the things that we are going to do to ensure that the adjacencies are right. It's not a very big, you know, it's about 12,500 square feet, but it's a start. But we are curating the spaces now. Why? We believe that this is the right time for the platform for these young kids, at least to make their mark here. Then, Bob's your uncle.
Aparna, your thoughts? Couture is not a space for, couture is not a category that belongs to malls, Sanjeev says. While at Emporio, you've tried to do that for over a decade now. So it's a mix of both couture and Pret. So your thoughts on that?
So I actually have a lot of thoughts. First and foremost, thank you for putting this session together. I think it's a great interaction that we've had before coming on stage as well. So, and I've seen a lot of familiar faces. I'm here after a very, very long time. Let's keep it interactive, guys. Anybody has a question, let's talk. I agree. I don't think MAPIC has given the designers of India enough credit yet or center stage. I'm glad we are putting this together. But I feel it's only a MAPIC thing. I think designers of India are really ruling the world now, not just Emporio or Quest or any other development. I think they have really, really now become not just creators or designers, but I think they've got a very sharp strategic mind. There is a plan, there is a business. I feel for me the largest transition has been the fact that the last 10, 15 years, the brands are not just now looking at, it's not a family business anymore. There's a lot of backing from institutions as well, which is why we are seeing brands streamline businesses. There's a very sharp focus on strategy, on the top line, on scalability. Some of the words you used before is something that we feel is completely what they are building their businesses on. And I'm sure, most of the panel here will agree that it's actually gotten really, really streamlined. A vote of confidence from large corporates that helps it. The global platform has helped it. We are seeing not just one or two, but multiple Indian designers at the Paris Fashion Week, and not just one-off show. It's not like, let me try this, but I think there's a clear strategy of how they're achieving. They are one of the best. India's always boasted about craftsmanship, but I think they're taking it to the next level with the right kind of creativity and vision. So I think I give them a lot more credit. For us, Emporio is actually equally divided between designers of India as well as international luxury brands. And for us, both have equal weightage. I don't completely agree that couture is not for malls. And Sanjeev and me are good old friends, so I think we can keep talking about it for many, many more years to come. But I think designers of India deserve every stage that's being offered to them and much more.
So, I think I agree with Aparna. The way we are also seeing the market evolve, the designers are more organized, the more structured. There's a lot more thought process and backing of what I can do. They're very creative, but where were the accounts? How's the warehousing? How's the logistics being managed? So I think that's what's helped the scalability. Jaideep, your thoughts on scalability, because I believe that you're leading that pack in a way where you want to go global. It's truly a brand. I would not like to say a pred brand, but I would like to say a aspirational brand in the luxury segment. With everyday luxury that you represent. What are the main challenges with scalability, and also again being a brand which is a homegrown brand, how is the brand book defined to keep it similar across your locations and not dilute the brand.
I think I'll just take some cue from what Aparna and Sanjeev had said. Very true, starting from how he said that, a lot of talent and the kids who've seen and come back now, and that skill set has evolved. And even if you see, it's a very interesting intersection of three things: how your consumers have evolved, how malls and the entire real estate had evolved, whether Quest being upgrading itself, how Emporio had created different sections of couture, Pret, bringing a right curation, and how brands have evolved. So what really changed over years, the meaning of luxury has evolved. For us, maybe at a certain point in time, luxury was how you spend your time. Luxury is how you connect to yourself. Luxury is something which is seamless and ease. Then there are different form of expression, whether clothes or cars, to actually experience all this. Now, from here, the first thing for any brand is getting the clarity on what they need. When we always think of growth or scale, we typically feel opening more stores, doing more sales. How do you preserve? But I think it's really not that. You don't have to preserve what you are. Every brand has to evolve. But what matters at that point in time is, do you have the clarity of what do you really want to do? So clarity with scale is what protects it from dilution. To preparing for scale, you look at European luxury houses, they've built over 100 years. That patience, maybe in the first 20 years, they were at that stage. But in pursuit of growth, if we miss that patience and you don't build something, you rightly said, the systems, the professionalism, and even today, AMPM, we did a complete rebranding, right? We closed 10 stores. We rebuilt the same store, and I always thanks that Emporio had that trust, and that platform was given for us to represent and use that. But then after that, we haven't opened stores in 3 years, maybe, but that didn't mean we didn't grow. The growth has come in the form of aspiration. The brand has grown in the form of aspiration, which would grow in the form of space now. We're opening our next store after a long time in Kala Ghoda in Bombay. And I think another challenge is always similar, whether it is a Pret or fashion or any other brand, that we have a lot of intelligence as a human, right? In fact, sometimes I call it over intelligence is what we deal with. We love things to be too complex. We don't want to really simplify them. But the luxury is moving towards simplification now. It's very, you feel when you walk into our space, you would find them very simple, very calm. We talk about efficiency, but breadth in luxury is not about that. It's rather about slowing down. If you make your consumer slow down, either it's a mall or it's a store, that's where he buys more. You don't have to sell the consumer more. You have to make him slow down. So if you're really clear of what you want to do, what your design language is, and then again, something which you mentioned, affordable luxury, right? I think the word is again not interpreted right. He's laughed, and I truly agree to that you're calling it luxury, you're calling it affordable. I think luxury is what we meant, probably the luxury can be everyday or occasional. That's where I would love to rather differentiate. Maybe an everyday luxury where you would want to buy 5 pieces more frequency, there you would, that's where the breadth comes in, right? You're okay paying exactly the price point he said, between 20,000 to 1 lakh, because I need to buy 10 pieces. Whereas for a wedding or for a gown or for a lehenga, I might buy 10 lakhs because I just need to buy one. So luxury was never about affordable, non-affordable. I think there were different interpretations. Those were not interpreted well. For us, we went wrong 20 years. We had full courage to accept it that we did something wrong. We were not reaching there. A courage to close the entire business, rethink, and go slow, build it 4 years, but with the full clarity of what you really want to do. So I think that's my take, and I think the entire it's such a great moment when two big mall developers for us, you know, those platforms say a similar thing. So it just adds value to that.
No, I think definitely the need of the hour with the category growing, and with the recognition that it deserves. Because even with the realm of, say, Indian designers, I feel that there's Pret and there's Heritage and then there's the Couture, and and all of them are just so intertwinkled, and most people don't know where they stand and what they stand for. So Supria, just on that, means while we are talking about consumers and how they're evolving, you obviously stand for something which is heritage, you stand for something which is very deeply rooted in India, and we spoke about it. It's not centuries we're talking about, it's civilizations that we're talking about. How is it that you're catering to the new consumer, and how, or is the consumer the same and we're giving him a different terminology? Are you reimagining what you're catering to him in any way?
Thank you so much for asking that question, because it allows me to talk about this word heritage and legacy. I think kind of little used, overused, abused, all of that. And I think when you ask me that, you're typically talking about the sari aspect of my business.
Sure.
So the fact that the sari does not require designers to make it survive. It has survived for centuries without any one of us being here. The family has been in this business for 600 years, and that ability, that knowledge, the know-how, what that has done is has allowed us to understand what is required beyond the innate ability of a sari to have the life that it has. And we understood that it's communication. So how you communicate today with the designer, with the customer, differs from what it was 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago. That is what needs to be worked on, reworked on, reinvented. The product itself, if it's strong, you have put in the effort to kind of build on the fundamentals of it, you've designed it, made it authentic, you're good. You're good there. I also want to kind of bring in this point that just for something to survive, it does require reimagining. It does not require reinvention per se. And that's where our designing comes into it. So we have a very strong design studio. We design every aspect of our product in-house, from the yarn to the motif to weaving, everything is done in-house. And that is keeping the new customer in mind. And then the communication part comes, which was probably once upon a time not even in the picture. No one thought about communication. You created a product, and I think 10, 15 years ago, it was just, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. Now that dikhta hai, bikta is done by internet. So I think we are good.
I think the storytelling has definitely become...
Absolutely. Yes, storytelling has become very important, and because the audience is everything, and you are DLF, and we're talking about real estate, I think today we have the ability to, Indian designers and Indian design houses are are able to talk to all the big malls and all the real estate people with a lot more strength, because in general, most people have understood that you have to be professional, you have to have some processes in place. And I'm looking at Sanjeev ji from that side, and I'm trying to look.
Also, you're very right. But look at the kind of spaces that have now been created. Look at your designer stores that y'all are doing. I think these are huge changes. You know, this is the mindset.
No,
It starts from
that's
the
what I'm
door.
saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. That today we are looking at each other as partners and saying that, hey, you know what, we can do this together. We can figure out spaces together. Designers get the ability to go beyond the product, design spaces, design customer experiences, and the people, the real estate, have recognized how that is bringing ROI and thinking beyond FSI, thinking beyond per square feet, footfalls. We are thinking about conversions a little more. This is a long conversation, but I think I'll.
95% we are still thinking that, at least up on my mindset.
You know, on that note, Supria, I think I'd like to go back to where I started from and say that it is bringing a very different footfall to the assets, which was not coming to malls, which was going to high streets, which was buying online, which was going to multi-brand outlets and not EBOs or single designer outlets. And these were people who were staffed to buy fashion and mostly traveled abroad, you know, because you don't want to buy the regular international high street fashion any longer.
No, because designers are dealing with landlords and people who did not understand the importance of experience required for the product. If you treat a product like a commodity, it's not going to work. Today, we are having that conversation and we are able to collaborate and say, hey, the space matters, help us with this, and we'll help you with this. And we are working in collaboration, and that's what's working for India as a market.
I think there's so many organic and inorganic destinations that have come up, which are like design districts where these brands are thriving, you know. So I just feel the developers like Quest, DLF, they're making these spaces to try and see what is it in my ecosystem that can coexist with who I have on board, and how is it a value add for my consumer, because why should my consumer step out and go into a gully maybe and buy it? Why doesn't he just take a lift up to another floor and just get all their shopping done, you know? And I'm going to come to you, Jahnavi, on storytelling, because we were talking about this earlier. And while I think it's both a boon and a bane, but, you know, designers or fashion is so widely advertised on social media that while it's amazing to get that kind of knowledge about different products that exist, but it could also be counterproductive because it's more about who's really more in your face, or who's got the better influence or the better celebrity. What are your thoughts about that?
Sorry. Hi. Yeah. You know, it's fair to say that the space, especially online, is very cluttered today. When malls started and when people who actually knew what they were doing curations, we saw the difference in how comfortable a consumer felt to shop in a mall because it was curated, it was the best of the best, the quality was checked. What happens on social media, or rather the internet, is there's barely any barrier to entry. So it's very chaotic, it's not very checked. But we do have voices, we do have platforms, we do have media partners who are advocating for those who are bringing that experience to life without the internet as well. See, looking at the internet as a place that a lot of people find very challenging or may not want to acknowledge that online shopping is a very, very big aspect now, would not be fair because we're only moving more in that direction. So what happens when the internet takes over so much? What happens to retail? We have to start looking at it as a peck point to get the consumer till the retail store, right? We have to start using the internet in a manner that it becomes the first part of the consumer journey. Every single post you put, every single person who speaks about you is the first place. And like we were speaking earlier, and he rightly said, the most important person is always the person who opens the door, the guard. It really does matter. And now, even before the guard comes the internet, right? People explore and people know more about the brand from the internet. So the journey just starts there and eventually it ends up at the retail space. So it's very important to hone your channels in a way where you can have people who already have authority, who already have a voice to speak about you, and then use it as a part of a cumulative consumer journey at the end of the day. And I think retail is only going to see the benefits of it. We have a lot with Google, we have a lot happening where they support stores that people search a lot. Places are shown up more. We have Uber ads. So I think we just have to see how we can actually hone that and convert that into a part of our customer journey rather than looking at it as only being chaotic.
Fair enough. I would say that I do think that sometimes this entire segment is getting so much attention online that you really have to try and still make that trip to the store and not try and I would really feel that that experience is what will lead to more conversion, and that experience is what leads to loyalty. Otherwise, online the loyalty
Yeah,
is shifting.
I'm sure all of us face the social media problem every day. And it's going to get worse because the most important thing has become reels. Now you are not really going looking for it, it's coming to you. And the AI is going to get even worse because it's feeding me all the crap that I didn't want. Once I've gone and searched for it, it's just dropping stuff. So,
Or your phone heard you and it's popping up.
I don't know about that, but if it's hurt me, then I'm surely going to be out of a job very soon because my expletives on the phone are completely different. No, but on a serious note, why the experience part? If you look at Kutub, right, Aparna will vouch for that. Look at the kind of stores they've created. It is insane. I mean, I don't see, okay, you'll see the LVs of the world and all, but we are as good. It's such an experience to walk into Tarun's store there. I was like, wow. So that is what retail brings to you. Whatever you do on the phone, eventually, you'll have to go and buy it because our contouring is not right.
Rishi, we're talking about curation, we're talking about experience. That's your play, isn't it? How is it that you get down to selecting the brands that people should experience at your store? Means how does the curation happen for the brands that you house?
Thank you, Sakshi. Firstly, I think I kind of agree with everyone on the panel, what they've said. Uh, Retail is really changing, and for the good, I mean. The last couple of years that I've seen that consumer doesn't just want, and they're not looking only for consumption. One thing which is clear right now is experience. And that's how we started Vasa Indica, curating all these homegrown brands, getting them under one roof. And not that people don't get clothes, and as we rightly mentioned that there is so much available online now, but so this is omni-channel in a very nice way. It's become a necessity now. A lot of people identify and discover these brands online, but what we've seen is that the purchase is actually happening offline. And I'm purely talking from a point of view, from our price points, which is at 10,000 going up till say 30,000 and all Indian homegrown brands. Experience and curation are two things which sets a complete store apart and gives an amazing experience to our customers when they walk in. And we've paid so much attention to being different from people because that is how exactly loyalty kicks in. We've seen that just a number that 70% of our revenue is still coming from 30% of our repeat customers, and that's purely based on loyalty, how loyal they are that they come back to us, because how the door is opened, how the tea, coffee, water is served, what kind of music is going on, the look and feel of the store, how quickly the stuff is packed with a touch of a thank you card, invoices being sent digitally, physically, however they wanted. This just completely adds on to a great experience. And curation, I feel, plays a very, very, very important role, and that's how We have systems in place, the right set of merchandisers, and to rightly mention, people get so much availability now, but they don't want to wear the same stuff what everyone is wearing, be it a Massimo, Zara, or like I'm talking about higher, more expensive brands. They want something which is unique. Just to give you an idea, like, there's a brand with us which is into heritage, and they make one of a piece. And we get sell out by that brand. I'm not exaggerating. We get that stock and it's sold out probably within a few days because everyone wants to wear that unique piece at a party. So yeah, experience and curation, two most important things for me.
So Sanjeev saying women don't like to wear the same thing, or even the thought of turning up at a party wearing.
No, that's exactly why unique
Can you
pieces,
imagine two women wearing the same salwar kameez? They'll kill each other.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Unique pieces.
But so I'd just like to go a little deeper on that point to say, so you're in a certain way like a platform for a lot of brands to also try offline, Rishi. So what has been one of the biggest success stories that you could share of a brand that started with you and was maybe completely online? And I think that'll be a really good thing for the audience to know about some of these homegrown brands, because a lot of people just don't make that journey.
No, very valid points, Sakshi. Thanks for bringing this up. Uh, a lot of brands and the brands that we deal with, and these are all emerging brands, who are probably trying to be up there, and they got all potential. Let me tell you, I think some of the brands that we deal with, they come from different parts of India, cities that you would not hear of, exceptional designs, supremely talented, but again, the problem is that if somebody is sitting in Delhi and the brand is, say, for example, from Calcutta, and it's a new brand in the price range of 15,000, 20,000, they will only want to touch, feel, try the product. If it's placed, an order is placed online, it comes to you, doesn't fit you, it has to go back. It's a loss for the brand and for the customer. They waited for a week for the brand to come, the piece to come in, and it has to go back. So yeah, it plays a very, very, very important role according to me. So some brands, just to give you an idea, who started off with us, and purely because, see, retail space, physical spaces are expensive. To get your own space, and of course then to run it. It's not an easy task. So this is how we thought of that, why don't we give a physical space to these brands, showcase your stuff with us and see how they perform over a period of time. And then of course, we do give these brands some bit of, I would say, confidence that we market for them. We give them that confidence, we push for their sales. And somewhere, there are a couple of brands who've done fairly well with us in a way that now they want to open their own stores. One has reached out to us to take a bigger space from us. We are a store of a larger space. That's the model that we follow. But yeah, I think it's great. They just need a platform, and I think we're here to do that for them.
What you're saying, I think we hear a lot of these stories who've got a platform, within your store, and eventually they're looking at bigger boutiques, and they obviously come back to us. And we've seen multiple brands, not naming anyone, but smaller journeys, and just transitioned into very, very big brands with much larger dreams of, going global. And I think the next step for everyone now is looking at, the Middle East, maybe not now, but probably after the 2-week ceasefire is over. But we feel that there is so many of these smaller stories which are there.
Jaideep would completely agree with you on that point.
No,
Yes.
it's about taking that plunge and a lot of financial commitment involved. But I think once they know that they've tested waters and they've done fairly well, I think, why not?
Honestly, while the time's up, I think there's so much that we can talk about, because, with Indian diaspora even increasingly going all over the world, and even so much acceptance all over GCC for the kind of Indian designs, our craftsmanship, the market's really opened up for what we craft all over the world. Just one finishing line, or one, summary of your thoughts of how the future lies ahead for Indian luxury.
See, I think you've got to be really proud. Pride is a very important thing. In our panel discussion, I said Indira Gandhi always wore a sari wherever she went in the world, however cold, however hot. Until we are not proud, our mall guys do not create the areas where adjacencies give these people a platform. I don't think they are going to have the confidence of, Second thing, somebody said, obviously he said that they do. We've got something called the wardrobe that Shivika Goenka started at Quest, where we bring all the second, third, fourth rung designers. Now they are becoming, I think Aparna knows also in Calcutta, we have these in the five-star hotels. They do these, pop-ups. And it's a madhouse. I've never seen women fight. It's terrible. It's like the clothes get damaged.
Delhi had a pop-up last week of Calcutta designers, and
Okay,
they were all
so
sold out. There were 20 plus designers.
So these are platforms that are already being curated. I think it's very good, but be proud that at a global event when you go, do not wear Western clothes. I don't know how we can pull that off, but that's obviously going to be the
On a
litmus
closing note, I just want to add that DLM Emporio has been one of those destinations which has been standing for the last 17, 18 years, which have given an equal platform for both Indian as well as
we
international.
copied you.
I didn't say that, you said it. And but just to recognize that they've always had a place, and I think it's now gotten much stronger. A lot of newer curated spaces are coming up, which are 5-7 years, which is great because they're also increasing the market. There are all sorts of brands which need the right kind of visibility and the space to get nurtured and then obviously aspire for Emporio.
So Pride, their own space in the universe. What about you, Supria? Your closing remark.
Yeah, I actually wanted to kind of continue on that one thing and can be my closing remark too. The fact that our design label did not have a space which did justice to it is what forced us to create a multi-designer space of our own, which won the Pre-Vasa Award for the best retail space in Asia Pacific.
Wow.
For the kind of work and effort we put into the interiors, and then we got in all these amazing young designers who were looking for a place to put their products. And I think like exactly what I said earlier, if we find this marriage between the space, we get that respect, and we have the designers who kind of also understand the importance of it, and spaces like, what Rishi is providing, where you get the touch point for the customer to actually experience the place. I think we have a win-win. India's retail is absolutely on the right track. Maybe a wee bit late, but we are on the track. We'll get there.
Yeah. We're always late, like Sanjeev says. Rishi, your closing remark.
So I think retail is ever evolving, and Sanjeev was mentioning in the back room that how do you cater to this segment and new target every time? A lot of Gen Zs coming up, you should always be ready to probably change your focus, your marketing, your things going forward. So I feel it's ever evolving, and I feel the brands, consumers are looking for story and experience right now. So the brands, which are usually, as we were talking about online also, if they're visible way too much, I don't think so that they'll do well, but people are looking for stories in a brand. So I feel that will play a very vital role.
So stories that every brand tells. Jaideep, what about you?
I think what many of us said, experience. I think luxury has moved from scarcity 20 years back when everybody would have started to solve something, is a lot of availability now. So anybody in luxury who will be able to allow people to slow down, connect to themselves, connect at an emotional level, where experience attention spans are reducing. We all know through phones and how every crap is coming. And that's where come the psychology of, curating small moments which people could remember, something which could slow you down, resonate with you, inside you, a space which let you feel that out of the clutter, basically. And that's where you feel transformed. Experience is a widely used word again, but what is that experience? Where after engaging with an experience, when you come out, or let's say you go and remember that or wear that what you're wearing, you feel transformed. That something has changed in me after experiencing this. Maybe now I don't want to experience many other things. This is more meaningful to me. that is the scale where luxury would really
No,
reach to.
I would completely agree with Jaideep. I think that's what luxury truly in the truest form is. Everything is a material possession. But yeah, transformation of how you are made to feel is extremely important. Jahnavi, your closing remark.
I think everyone summed it up quite well. And, the only thing is the retail landscape may feel like it's smaller than the internet, but the truth is the conversion is still happening in retail. So we need to start just looking at our journey as a slightly longer one where it starts online but ends at the retail store, and that in itself should also be a part of how people are treated at the store. Every person who sees you on the internet should still be treated the same way that you would treat someone standing in front of you at the store, and it just becomes an extension of you and a reason that someone wants to particularly make the effort of getting into their car and coming to you, or getting on a plane and coming to you just to experience what you have to offer.
Thank you so much. I would completely again agree that experience is the vital thing. So I would just feel that in this segment, the three universes of heritage, pret, couture all still stand for experience, transformation, the stories that we tell, how we treat people. And, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I've truly enjoyed this conversation, and I hope everybody in the audience did as well. Any questions from anybody in the audience? Anybody wants to? Okay, I see one hand raised up.
Were you?
Could you also address the question to?
Okay. What I wanted to say was, when I went abroad, what I saw was that if there is a mall, there is a mix of a lot of things in that mall. It is not only about the retail, they've got experience centers, they've got the luxury centers, they've got the luxury apartments over there, and it is surrounded by a lot of kiosks and a lot of shopping centers, where if you want to buy something cheap, you'll go outside. If you want to buy something into a luxury brands, you'll go inside the mall and you will have that. So now when we come to India, I have seen that in some parts of India, this kind of malls are being created nowadays, in which it is not only about the shopping center or shopping experience which you get, it's a plethora of things which you get it into that very mall. You just have to enter it, and you just have to know that what is the day you have planned and what is the things you have to do, and you go ahead with us. So wanted to know that what are you as a mall holders, as a retail people, are bringing this kind of technologies in India, that we can see more of this kind of ventures in India into much more this spaces. This was my first question. My second question was this: everybody talks about luxury. What I understand from luxury is, some years back, if I wanted to buy a dress of 15,000 rupees, it was supposed to be a luxury. Today, if I want to buy a 15,000 dress, it's a necessity for me. So how do we define luxury nowadays? Because if I want to buy a Steve Madden, or if I want to buy any other brands, they are very readily available nowadays in India. It is nothing of a sort that it's kind of something new which I'm getting it out into the market, and which is not available anywhere else. And similarly, it is for the designer clothes as well. Manish Malhotra brand was supposed to be a very big brand earlier. It was something which, if I'm wearing a Manish Malhotra sari into a party, I'm wearing something. But nowadays, I can buy it. So now it is not about Manish Malhotra sari, it's about what kind of design of Manish Malhotra sari I'm wearing it nowadays. That is what matters. So this is what I wanted to know from you guys, that how do you perceive that what is luxury, and whether it is accessible to the normal person, an urban person or a Gen Z person, or whether it is available to only a set of people. That is what I wanted to ask you.
Sanjeev, do you want to get the first
You
question?
know, I've got confused what you asked from the beginning. I've lost the whole plot only. But just to, from what you said, I'll gather.
I'll jump in and help Sanjeev
Huh?
on one part.
Yeah.
One of your questions was, is it accessible? Yes, I think that's the whole idea of malls and high streets. It's accessible to everyone. You're welcomed, and you've got the the platform. It's a marketplace, so definitely accessible.
My first question was not this. My first
She's
question
answering
is,
your second question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Aparna, every woman here wants to buy a Birkin. You are the only one who's got it. Okay? Now, that is luxury, but it's not accessible, huh? They will not show it to you. I went in there, thanks to you, and she was extremely rude to me. But that is luxury. Luxury is also something you cannot have. That is also luxury. But to answer your first question, I really wanted to understand if you can repeat it what you want.
My first question was this. We talk about malls as an experience center or a shopping place as an experience center. While we go globally, we find that in a mall as an experience center, there are plethora of things. It is not only about having a shopping center, it's about a gaming center, it's about a food center, it's about having a luxury apartment.
Let me answer that. I understand from where you're coming. We are what now, 25 years into malls actually, I mean, if you are. So we are mall 5.0 or 6.0, like we started from crap. So, first of all, we have evolved as people. Please sit down. We have evolved as people, we have evolved as customers, we have learned, we have burnt our fingers. If you ask mall developers, they have gone from making retail spaces, selling them, to then making spaces, to renting them, then being part of revenue share as partners.
Or being parts of funds or
yeah,
REITs.
and I know I was at the forums when I was saying, listen, you guys can't do this, you can't run it like this, you have to. So, we've been through a whole learning curve, but also we've jumped a whole learning curve. There are a lot of stuff that we have not done. Huh? Now, if you see a mall is built in India, right in the heart of the city. Why? Because Nehru didn't develop the rest of the city outside. Okay, he only developed 4 cities. He made a rose garden everywhere. So you can blame him that why we didn't get infrastructure. In fact, in one of the previous, they said we can't make outlet malls because it takes 3 hours to go. So you have to thank Mr. Modi is getting the tube there so you can go there, buy and come back on a cheap. A mall has got to understand who the TG is. Aparna's mall and my mall is not meant for everybody. We don't want everybody. In fact, luxury doesn't want everyone. They want to be snooty. Bitchy is the right word I would like to use. The women understand that. So there are different aspects of it. But if you make a 1 million square feet mall, there'll be areas where you will make things for everyone. And you have to. Who's going to feed the dragon every day? How's the cam going to be paid? How's your parking still going to be free? You want free parking all the time. So it doesn't work like that. We've evolved now very clearly over
Just to add to that, not every mall stands for the same thing or for the same kind of zoning. So it depends on the size of the mall, of about who they can cater to, where they're located, how accessible it is. So yeah, that's what it is. I think we have no more time for any other questions. I'm extremely sorry, but I really hope you all enjoyed the discussion. And thank you so much to all the panelists. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. May I request you to please present our thank you and a token of our appreciation to each of our panelists. May I request for the bags from Damilano as I take a moment and thank each of our speakers. And thank you for your questions. I promise you that during the networking breaks, you're more than welcome to take questions offline. For now, we'd like to take a moment and thank each and every one of our speakers as we present you with this token of appreciation from Damilano. I'd also like to take this moment and invite on stage Ms. Rima Punya to personally thank our moderator for her very kind presence and for designing this particular segment's questions out here. Thank you so very much for sharing your thoughts and inputs. It does mean a lot to us. Thank you so very much, ma'am. Let me also welcome all of you to join us for a group photograph, please. We would love to capture you all. And as we capture this group picture, may I please request all of you to take these pictures as well. And I request that because I would love for you to add these on your social media platforms and get an opportunity to win some amazing prizes. So please do bear with us as we take a moment and thank our speakers right here. And also, I'm very excited to share that we have a very special session coming up next. So please do allow us a moment to bear our stage.